Coach, you had a dress rehearsal for this week's game against these guys in a different setting a few days ago. The guys played great, just one mistake, and then obviously went to PK, could have won anyway. Have you gone back to that to show these guys that these guys are really somebody that can run just like you do, like regular team, just like everybody else?
Yeah, of course we use that game as it's a good opportunity to use a game when you've played so close to this one, and it's in the same stadium, and we know they're a top team. We know they've been really successful of late, but we played well in that game, and it was fairly even in the sense of possession and goal chances. And it's a difficult place to go, but there's definitely parts of that game that have helped us to prepare for this one.
You mentioned another time about the boxing reference, going back and forth, like a heavyweight bout. You were a knockout away from taking these guys out, one punch away from taking them out. Anything that worries you about not settling in and putting in that last punch against these guys this time around?
No, I think that we know where we're at in the evolution of our team, and those difficult moments, going to difficult places and playing against top teams is a good marker of where you're at. And I thought, there was elements of that game that we wanted to have present in it, and we did. I think both teams want the ball. I think both teams know how to keep the ball. And you've seen it in that game. It sort of ebbed and flowed. We know we have to be, more ruthless in our attacking game to grow into being a top team. The evolution of us is to have more threat, is to be more clinical on the road, is to, the chances that you create, especially in these difficult places, are going to be less than you do at home, right? So you have to be clinical in the volume that you create, and that's a journey for us. It's another opportunity this week, and like I say, top team, difficult place, but we're well up for it.
Michael?
Coach, want to go back to Leagues Cup and ask about an exchange around Tallis Magno. Prior to the game in Cincy, you said that the whole squad was fit. After the game in Cincy, you said Tallis had picked up an injury and didn't travel. Not asking you to relive that, but I want to know, you've talked about this team being very young. Are you concerned, or are you confident in their maturity, that if they hear you say things that are contradictory here and then we report on it, that they're not thinking, gee, I wonder if he's not being truthful to me when he's talking to me in the locker room or on the pitch side?
No, I'm not worried, because we speak regularly, right? I think if you look at the game, the evolution of squads happens, you look across the league, right? Players come in and players go out, and, my job is to, and I'm not dodging the question, right? My job is to prepare the team, and there is a lot of conversation with individuals and the football club, and the situation with Tallis was very much Tallis' situation as much as the football club situation. And I think the one thing that we've always done is worked with guys to make sure that, they progress within their careers. I wasn't privy to all of the conversations with Tallis, and when I said Tallis got an injury pre-Cincinnati, that was 100% true. The players were in the game when Tallis went down. It was actually a challenge with Julian Fernandez. There was nothing in it. It was completely innocuous, and it was completely 50-50. But he was unable to travel and unable to play, and through that what developed was an opportunity for him to go to Corinthians, and the football club and Tallis agreed. So my job was to move on and to prepare the team for the knockout game in New England. And it's the same with everybody, right? Some players are in the team, some players are out of the team, some players are playing every week. The aim is to develop everybody, no matter young or old. And those guys that are here are fully focused on making sure that we have a big push in the final 8 games.
Roberto?
Nick, I know it's got to be concerning to you to see all these opportunities that you've had to pick up points lost at the end of games, especially. There's too many blown leads. How are you addressing the issue with the team? And I know that you're not going to give away, your secrets of what you're changing, but what can you tell me about how you're addressing all of this?
It's a process, right? I think, we know that in the moment, and I've said this all season when we had a slow start, and I said exactly the same message and to the team and in the press, when we were winning 8 games out of 9. It's a process, and the evolution of this team is to stick to the process in how we develop. Now, in the slow moments, it's really disheartening and it feels really demotivating when you're 2-0 up and you draw 2-2 with Chicago in a game we must win, or should win. It's really frustrating, and I see that from the team because the care is there and the desire and the hunger to win. But similarly, when we're winning and we're putting back-to-back wins at home, or we're winning 3 games on the road, my job is to make sure we don't get too high and we don't get too ahead of ourselves. We have to stick to the process and we have to make sure that we continue to improve. Now, through Leagues Cup, I said after the Cincinnati game, we have to react positively to losing the lead in Cincinnati and losing the game ultimately. That's exactly the same with this Chicago game. We should win, but we didn't, and we have to take out the reasons why. And I think there is an element of at 2-0 in the Cincinnati game and in 2-0 in this game, the first goal, the reaction to the first goal has to be much more positive, has to be, we have to manage that moment because, the evolution of the team, the development of the team is at least we should get out of that game at 2-1 with 3 points, but we didn't. So we have to learn from that. We've had some really honest conversations, some really progressive conversations as a group, leadership and younger players, and how we develop through those moments, right? We saw a game out away to Toronto. We saw a game out away to Philadelphia. We saw a game, we've been through these. It's not that we're not capable, it's the inconsistency of the moments, and that is about the development of the team. And I'm the same as the fans, right? I want that development to happen very, very quickly because I want to win consistent football games, but that is part of the process of developing a fairly new team and a young team.
Thank you.
More questions in the room? Okay. On to the Zoom. Scott?
Hey, Coach, how are you? Scott Church and Stream Punk Soccer. Going to bring it back to Columbus a little bit. Stat nerd this Columbus is a team this year that's top in possession, third in passing, and second in completion rate in passing. How do you combat that with a team that really likes to hold the ball as much as they do?
Well, I think you see the answer to all the problems that we're going to face against Columbus is within our game, is within our football. And against a team that is going to pass the ball a lot and is going to try and control possession, there are many pressing opportunities. There are many chances like the goal in Columbus. We had a lot of counter-attacking opportunities in the game. Those moments, we've seen the goal in Philadelphia, the goal in Toronto. We can be dangerous in counter-attack. So there are those opportunities if we're organised and if we're together and if we're aggressive and if we play with intensity. The other side of the game is we're a team that likes the ball as well. So, both teams want the ball. I agree with the coach, Columbus, in his post-match press conference when he said both teams have the ability to have possession of the ball. That's why the game is exciting, and I agree, they're good with the ball, but we are also. So, in those moments when we have the ball, we have to create chances and we have to control the game, right? So they're a top team. I agree. I think they're setting the standard in MLS at the moment, but the aim for us is to try and rival these teams that are consistently winning and become a consistent winning team.
Joe?
Hey, Coach. You've spoken many times in the past very highly about Wilfried Nancy from his early days at CF Montreal. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what do you think makes him such a top-class manager and among the best to sort of coach against in this league?
That he has a very clear idea of how he sees the game, how he believes the game should be played, and he isn't going to move off that idea. He's going to stick to that idea and he's going to work tirelessly and incredibly hard to give that idea to his team. And I think you can see a team that believes in his idea 100%.